to Girls Run These Worlds. My name is Taylor. I use she, her pronouns, and today we're playing Under the Floorboards by Chris Bissett of Loot the Room. Under the Floorboards is an RPG about tiny people in a giant hostile world. This game is heavily inspired by The Borrowers, and content warnings include giants, heights, and perilous situations for our characters. If you want to get this game for yourself, which I highly suggest you do, you can find it on itch, loottheroom.itch.io/under the floorboards, and also check out all of Loot the Room stuff. It's very good. Before we get into the game, I'm gonna let my players introduce themselves. And when you introduce yourself, go ahead and say your name and pronouns, your character's name and pronouns, and then also let's say, since let's get into the mindset of these little floorboard folk. And if there's an item you have nearby that you think a floorboard folk might find useful, you can go ahead and say that too. And I'm going to start with Philippa since you're first on the screen for me.
Oh no. Hi everyone, my name's Philippa Moore. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm replaying Veronetti Stovepipe, who also uses she, her pronouns. And my desk is extremely cluttered, so I think that my borrowers would find a little paintbrush extremely useful for leaping over distances, like Dutch canals in real life, like pole vaulting.
Very good. I like that. I'll throw it over to Arnica. Do you want to introduce yourself and your character?
Hello, I'm Arnica, she, her pronouns. I will be playing Gwendolyn Porch, also she, her pronouns. And see, it's a pleasant little mess over here, but so much of these things I'm like, I don't know if I could show. What if we get demonetized?
Say no more.
I do have some small straws. They're about like, I don't know, 6 inches long, hollow. They keep open my cones. So I could think of like 5 things I could use this for as Gwendolyn. I could use this to set up some traps. I could use it to distract a cat by rolling it, because trust me, my cats love these things. So there, this is my will not get us in trouble on Twitch for drug references thing that's on my desk.
We're starting off juicy. And then Rude, do you want to introduce yourself and your character and something nearby that you can show on stream?
Imagine if I was just like, no, I will not introduce myself.
Iconic.
You'll never know who I am. You'll never catch me. Hello, everyone. I'm Rue. I am perfectly normal and not chaotic at all. And I'll be playing Doghouse. He, they. Oh, and my pronouns are she, her. I also have a very cluttered desk, but all the items are like extremely huge. So these borrowers would have quite a time getting it. I do have some ticket stubs that are kind of the back that I will likely forget about, that I feel like they would be like, yes, paper. I also have a big bag of batteries that I keep forgetting about.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm sure one day I would be like, didn't I have batteries back there? Oh, well.
Yeah, very useful batteries. And then I'll say this really quick. You might see a little empty spot on the screen and in our hearts. Darcy is not going to be joining us because they're not feeling well. So if we can get better soon, Darcy's in the chat, so that they can feel better soon. And with that, I'm gonna just jump right in to our one shot because I think that's everything that I was supposed to say. So clear my throat and begin the storyteller portion. The tiny folks who live in the floorboards of 8510 Acorn Avenue are accustomed to a certain level of routine. Knowing where the human beings are likely to roam, it makes it easier to avoid being seen. The holidays come unexpected visitors, but also ripe opportunities for borrowing. Speaking of holidays, the floorboard folk of the house have noticed that the Biggies always throw a big party with lots of food and drink every year around this time. Of course, plenty of food and drink for the Biggies means plenty of food and drink for the floorboard folk as well. And so over the years, they've gotten into the habit of preparing feasts this time of year as well. Our three adventurers are just one of many groups of borrowers going on expeditions this year, but they've been assigned to one of the more ambitious tasks. You see, while out on an expedition, one of you noticed sitting on a table of packages in the living room a fabulous treat, a box of chocolates, each filled with a different liquor. Just a few of them would provide so much merriment at the feast, but imagine if you could bring home the whole thing. But before we get to the expedition, I have a question for all of you, all of your characters. And this is also a good chance to introduce your character, let us know what they look like, maybe where they live in the house, that sort of information. So, floorboard folk, on your last expedition out into the big world, whenever that may have been, for some of you it may have been recent, for some of you it may have been a while, you picked up a small trinket that makes you particularly happy. What is it, and where do you keep it? And whoever wants to go first can go first.
I can start us off. So, Veronetti is a seasoned borrower. She's in her later years, but still very spry, although she will ask other people to do things for her if possible. And I think the thing she found, which she wears very proudly, is her hat, which is a thimble decorated with a picture of a small dog. And she has that jammed on her. She has like very flyaway curly grey hair. And then she has a very comfy jumper and a little bandolier of paper clips in case she needs to hook onto things.
Yeah,
yes, her thimble. She was very
where
excited to heist last time.
Where does Veronetti live in the house?
Did we say where we all lived? I can't remember.
I don't think so. So I'm just putting you. Just make something up. No, I didn't know if your last name. Some borrowers' last names have to do with where they live or where they used to live.
Yeah,
it's up to you.
I think she maybe lives behind a skirting board, and has a sort of jewelry box that's been customized into different rooms. So like the plush velvet of the jewelry box inside forms the inside rooms, and there's a little central bit to separate the jewelry, which can be used for different rooms of the place.
I love that. That's very good. Yeah, what about Gwendolisa or Jalk? Something that you got on your last adventure? Introduce yourselves.
Okay. So Gwendolisa has not been out borrowing for a while. She was a particularly talented trapsmith until she retired for a little bit, raised a family. She has 3 kids, and her youngest has recently just gotten married and moved out. In fact, her youngest is married to Veronetti's grandchild. So, we know each other that way. But now my husband got eaten by a cat. That's exactly what happened. I promise he got eaten by a cat. So he got eaten by a cat years ago. And I promise I'll explain to y'all why this is funny later.
The full mischief from everyone already is good.
So I've been living on my own in a fairly large space. It was the size of, it was good for a big borrower family, but now it's just me, and it's in a space underneath the sewing machine. Ooh. So not too far from the skirting board, but not too close. So Veronetti and we can visit, but we're not up under each other. And I think my favorite trinket is, I wasn't much of a fighter, but when cornered, I was a vicious little beast, and I have a hat pin sword. I don't know why it's my most treasured thing. I've used it exactly once, and all I did was threaten a grasshopper, but to be fair, it was an enormous, terribly frightening grasshopper. But it makes me look tough. It makes me feel brave. So that's my treasure trinket.
I'm glad that you said the one time you used it, because you were beginning to set a very dire scene of like, my husband was eaten by a cat, I swear. I've used this sword one time. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, he ran out by himself under no duress at all towards that cat.
So,
Gwendolisa in her fancy morning clothes, just like it's so sad.
cleaning your hair.
I'm not gonna say I had a really cute hat and that my hair was always laid during my period of mourning, but
that just leaves Jalk. Tell us about who Jalk is, maybe where you live in the house, and then something that you got on your last expedition that you're particularly fond of.
Yeah. So Jalk is like pretty tall for a borrower. I guess like he kind of towers just a little bit above everyone else and has like a pretty big build. He's tan and like always has like a little kind of bit of scrap fabric that he's kind of like stuck together into like a beanie kind of. Like he's found some like not a rubber band, but those like little hair rubber bands.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's like kind of giving it like a beanie look. He saw some human being wearing it. He was like, that's cool. A human being's cool, and I'm gonna do that too. His like black hair kind of pops out from underneath it. And he used to live in the doghouse, Jalk doghouse. So he was always, when you did see them, they were always like a little bit bedraggled looking and kind of like especially like in winter if it was like rainy and stuff. But now they have made a big upgrade. They're living with Verinetti, who is very graciously letting them live there. And you probably see them like puttering about the jewelry box, like fixing things. They're like, I've got to earn my keep. Also, here's the money for staying here are some treasures. Yeah, and they're, I think what they one of their treasures from journeying, I think they kind of would go on a lot of journey adventures, not because they particularly like care to, but they're just like, I'm big and strong and I can help and I like helping people. And so they have like a big sewing needle with a cork stuck on the end of it that they kind of use like a big like hammer, like a two-handed hammer.
Oh, yeah.
So they usually have that kind of like stuck into the back of their shirt as like a sort of sheath. But every once in a while they get stuck and they're like, hold on a minute.
Very good. Again, I think that sets us up perfectly because one of you, which I have in my notes, probably the person with the highest perceptive score, which we have determined is Jalk before the stream. So Jalk is the one who first saw this box of chocolates that you're all going to be after. So Jalk, the first thing that we're going to do for roll-wise for the game is called Test Your Memory. So you'll roll 2d6 plus your perceptive score, which I think is 3. And that's going to determine if the obstacles and things like that that you saw when you were last in the living room are accurate, basically. If it's like, how much attention were you paying? How well do you remember it? So let me know whatever you get on that.
All right, I got an 8, and then with my 3 perceptive, so 11.
Oh, perfect. Cool. Okay, so just over the table, the way the game works, this is it's not exactly Powered by the Apocalypse, but it's similar. They're like, and the thresholds are the same. So on a result of 10 plus, your memory is good, and that means I make no changes to the obstacles which I will tell you what the obstacles are that you saw, which you would know this regardless. So, the first thing that you know is the easiest way into the living room is there's a crack in the brickwork on the mantelpiece, where it's like you can kind of scooch in and like get through some of the walls and then climb out this crumbling brickwork. But it is very hot because it's winter and the fire is going. So that'll be one of the things that'll be an obstacle for you all. And then you know, to get to the gifts, you'll need to climb down from the mantelpiece, down the Christmas tree, and into the gifts. And you also know the tree is full of, you know, electric lights, like Christmas lights. Some of which I think you would know to be a little bit frayed. And so there is a potential for some shocks. There could be, if you touch the wrong bulb, you could get a little bit of a zap. So you know those are two of the things that are in there. There could of course be like other things that come up. And heights are always like a concern for floorboard folk. A lot of you are used to staying pretty low to the ground. Once you get up onto a mantelpiece, that's also kind of a danger that you don't want to fall. But now we know some of the obstacles. We're gonna test your luck. This will determine if things have changed since you last saw the living room. So the way that this works is everybody rolls a single d6. The two highest are added together, and then whoever has the highest lucky score adds it to the roll. You don't you don't like take anything away from your lucky after this. Which normally you would if you were testing your luck. So yeah, let me know what you get on your d6 rolls.
3.
5.
A 2.
Okay, so that would be 9. Wait, no, 8. 5 plus 3, 8. And then who has the highest lucky score?
I have a 3.
Mine's
I also
2.
have I have 3 as well.
Okay, so we'll add 3 to it. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11. All right. Then I have to scroll down to the living room to see what that means really quick. Okay, cool. So you I will make a note of something. But you all will not know this because basically the living room is very changeable. It's one of the more active rooms in the house. So there will be something in here that is different. That'll be, you know, another little danger for you. Let's say, I'll pick this one. Okay. So you're all setting out on this adventure. The way the game works basically is we don't have to do things to determine like how you're getting to the living room. It's pretty much assumed that you're gonna be able to get there. You like the passages in the walls are not the most dangerous place. Like occasionally you could run into some critters like a grasshopper or something like that. But today things are looking good. So is there anything that you all are doing to like get ready or any like little moments that you want to have as you're setting out for this adventure?
I was thinking Veronetti will probably be talking with Jalk and sort of encouraging Jalk to carry more things in. Oh, you're so strong, Jalk. Don't suppose you could maybe carry some climbing equipment for me? I'm so old after all. Meanwhile, she's like happily hefting it out of her backpack. No problem. You could maybe just, I've been on so many missions, I should be the eyes and ears of this. So perhaps you wouldn't mind yes, carrying this for me.
Oh, that's so right, Veronetti. I should be the one carrying this. And like, meanwhile, Jalk has like this gigantic, like cartoonishly large backpack. And it like kind of looks like it's about to burst because you just keep adding
Yes.
stuff.
Let me just
to
strap
it.
that on for you. There we go. Putting various
No, don't
straps.
trouble yourself, Eddie. You're so frail. I
Oh,
like
yes,
pick you up and put you.
Oh, you're so strong, Jack. I like squeeze your bicep like, ooh. You're so strong. Oh.
I love Jalka's like basically like when people are like hiking the Appalachian Trail, where it's just like this huge backpack.
Y'all are Kronk and Eastman. I can't.
Oh my god, that's so true.
Oh, never.
Kronk and Yzma coded. Very good. What about Gwendolisa? Are you so just because it's a one shot and because this game is designed for one shots, there's not a lot of like setup of like someone comes to you and delivers the mission and stuff like that. But did you all have like a plan to maybe meet up? Is Gwendolisa supposed to come over here to the jewelry box, or are you meeting somewhere?
I am on my way to meet them right now. I'm on my way to Veronetti's place. It took me a few minutes because my kids stopped by. They had a couple. They're an excellent builder. It's something they got from me 100%. And so they have rigged us up with a combination of some buttons, some safety pins, and 2 pieces of elastic. They've rigged us up a little like cart that collapses. So right now I'm pulling behind me a little flat cart that will be able to pop out if we must. So like
Very
it's
good.
one of them little grocery carts. Pop it out.
Oh yeah,
Put the cordials in there. Woo!
Yeah.
Excellent.
I like that. Did you have so I just in case you didn't, I came up with names for your daughter and Veronetti's grandson. Did you have a name in mind for these people? If not, I can tell
I
you.
don't think I'd written one down, so go for it.
No, go ahead.
So I think since you mentioned them, I think they're like kind of showing you like this is how this works. Gwendolisa, your daughter is named Peep, and Vernetti, your grandson, is named Bendry. And their last name now is Eves because they've moved up to like the attic of the house to have more room to like build things. And I think I'll also say this, probably Veronetti and Gwendolisa would maybe have some inkling of this because I think the floorboard folk, you know, there's some gossip, there's some talk, and either you've heard this from them or you've heard it from other people saying like, hey, have you heard like what your I was gonna say kids, but they're not both of your kids. Your descendants are up to. And there's a rumor that the two of them up in the attic have been spending their time over the winter building paper airplanes and intend to explore the outdoors once the weather is nicer.
Yes, that sounds like my damn girl.
Yeah, so Peep is like showing you like, and then okay, so the really cool thing is if you push this button and then it like the rubber bands like all snap together, but don't do that while the chocolates are inside because of course, you know, so I put this little thing, and so you can see it's like one of those buttons that has like a cap on it that like the like nuclear code buttons where it's like you have to flip the cap up and then press the button because, you know, I would hate for you to be home and then somebody bumps this button and then all the chocolates are destroyed because these rubber bands are pretty strong.
I'm not at all taking a note of that.
Yeah, and I think Bendry is kind of just going around and like making sure, like tightening things up because they, you know, obviously don't want this to go poorly for you and are doing everything they can to help you get ready. So you take this collapsible little cart that you have and meet up over at Veronetti's. And I think we can just cut to the next thing that you see, which is you arriving at the living room. So As you peer out from the slightly crumbly brickwork by the mantel, the living room is spread out before you. It smells of cinnamon and fresh pine, and you can see on the other side of the mantel there's a branch from the big pine tree that's perfectly aligned for you to hop to and climb down to your prize. There's a little bit of a gap, but it's like the right level that you're like, I think we could probably make that. It's hard for you to focus on these things because the room is overflowing with useful items. There's an open bag of like puffed rice like treats that are like on the floor next or on the table next to the sofa. There's a remote with, you would assume, batteries by the TV across the room. The floor by this big tree is full of scraps of gold, silver, green, and red paper. And you think you even see a tape dispenser, scissors, and pen among these scraps of wrapping paper. But before you could really get to any of that, you do have the mantle to contend with. It's chock full of all kinds of exciting decorations, including, I think this is new since you were last here, Jalk, this doll that's a few heads taller than you. Its hard head is capped by a tall and pointy red hat. Its painted expression looks rosy-cheeked and full of mischief. And its soft, stuffed body is made of red fabric. It's also uncomfortably warm on the mantelpiece, and you can see heat radiating off of some of the little baubles and decorations here. And of course, you shudder to think what would happen if you were to lose your balance and fall to the floor below. So what are you all doing now that you're on the mantle?
Peek out the little crack.
Jalk is eyeing this doll with so much wariness and suspicion. Like, now ladies, stay. Let me go in first. I don't know who this dastardly creature is, but I'll protect us. Don't worry.
Yeah. Jalk,
I don't remember anything like this in my previous adventures. This must be a new edition.
Like, on the side, like doing like little fisticuffs.
Oh my gosh. Jalk, are you venturing out of the crumbling brickwork to go investigate this doll?
Yeah, I think that they're going in first, but they're going in like really slowly. I feel like they're not usually the leader position, so they're like they've got this like, I've got to be chivalrous, and then like immediately they're like, yes, right. Like looking for like validation.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is a roll. Because there could be something that would happen here. And I think it's I don't think it's agile. I think it's cunning, actually. To kind of see, because that's like detect or unlock are two of the options for cunning. So I think you're kind of trying to be like, what is this thing's deal? Really?
Cool.
So you'll roll 2d6 and then you'll add your cunning score.
Okay. Oh, thank goodness I rolled pretty good because my cunning is a 0. I rolled a 10.
Cool. Okay. So on a result of 10 plus, you do what you intended to do. It also gives the prompt describe what it looks like. I'll give you a little bit more information so you can like work with that. So the reason why I had this be a roll is because there was something here that was a little bit odd, which is this doll is here, and you can see once you get closer to it, it is holding like a little note, like not actually holding, but it's like there's like a piece of paper kind of like up next to its floppy felty arm. And you see on the mantelpiece there's it's like slippery here. But you're
Oh.
able to like see like, oh, okay, there's like it's kind of slippery, something weird is going on. And you grab the note and read it. And it's like obviously not written by like a creature of that size. Like the handwriting is like biggie sized.
Mhm.
And it says, did some cleaning for you.
That's so cryptic. From me, Rue, not from Jal.
Yeah.
Someone who did not grow up on like Elf on the Shelf stuff.
Yeah. Just as an aside, so yeah, this is Elf on the Shelf, which the players all said when we were doing the session 0, they were like, it'd be really funny if there's an Elf on the Shelf, so I put it in. But Elf on the Shelf, I don't think is an old thing. Like I feel like
No, it
it's
is
like
quite new.
a new thing, but the first time I ever heard of it, they were like, this classic tradition. I was like, this is not a classic tradition. This is brand new. You're trying to pretend that it's old.
It was great marketing. It worked too.
Yeah, everyone was like, "We have to
Everybody swore that obviously someone must have been doing it in some other part of the country, and it worked really well because it rode right on the edge of the internet, really
Yeah.
starting to.
Yeah.
I was grown, so
Yeah.
I'm old shit.
Somebody in chat says 2007 is the earliest I've been able to trace it. Yeah, I wouldn't call that
early.
yeah, earlier than I
right.
thought, but I wouldn't call it like an old tradition.
Hmm.
But anyway, Jelk, I'll say also, since you got a success on that, if there's anything like useful you want to have found or something that like gives you some insight into the whole mantelpiece situation, it is slippery, so you think that that might be something that you'll have to contend with getting across the whole thing.
Cool. Is it just slippery like on the other side of the elf, or is it like all over?
Slipperiness radiating from the elf.
Oh.
So it's like kind
No.
of on both sides of it. It's not all the way up to the edge of either side. It seems like it's just kind of like around this elf.
Okay. I think
Strange creature.
yeah, what have they done to this doll? What has this doll done to this mantle, I guess?
Yeah, that's the question.
That's probably what Jal thinks. They're like, I think they like report that back. Something seems to be coming from the elf, and I think they took like their cork and their cork hammer and like tried to take some of it with them to like
Yeah.
I think partially to see, like, I think that's how they kind of figured out that it was slippery, because they're like, there's something there and I don't necessarily want to step on it. So they like took it and noticed that it was like a little slippy. And then maybe tried to like with the other end that's still kind of pointy, like grab the paper so that they can bring it back to Veronetti and Gwendolisa. I think they're like reading stuff for you.
What does it say?
You bring it back to the other two. I don't think this is even a roll of any kind because it's not like super complicated to know this, and I don't think anything interesting happens if you don't succeed on this. So you get the paper, you can read it, and looking at the substance that's on Jalk's hammer, it seems like it's like soap scum, kind of. It's kind of like soapy water, and like then the remnants of soapy water seems like what is on this mantelpiece, which is like a lacquered wood mantelpiece.
Interesting. Well, we don't want to slip and fall into the fire, so
Yeah.
You said there were other like decorations. Oh, sorry, you go.
Oh no, I was about to ask literally the same question. Please go.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are the other decorations? Are there any like strings of fairy lights we could climb along, or boughs of some sort? Or
definitely like pine boughs. There's also like some like Christmas lights that are over here. So a little more sturdy, I would say, than like fairy lights. They're the kinds that have like the thicker rope and like the big bulbs on them.
Mm.
So those would be the two things that I would say are kind of like things that you could maybe climb on or use to get across. The uh the lights are pretty warm. The Christmas lights, both from like the pine boughs, like they don't retain the heat that much. But like the Christmas light bulbs especially are pretty warm because they're on and then they're also the fire's going.
So Gwendolyn is gonna take a look at the slippery soap scum on the edge of it and the heat and the ever so slight tilt on the mantle that's happened over the past couple of years as the house has settled. Just that's a no. So she's gonna tap Veronetti on the shoulder and kind of gesture towards the garland sweeping across. Be like, do you want to kind of
A little shimmy.
little-
Suppose these arms could do with a workout. I had imagined that Veronetti had like a little bandolier of like paper clips, so I wonder if we could like bend them to sort of like, sort of, if we get to if we kind of climb to a higher one, could we sort of like zip line almost?
Oh
like
my
a long
gosh.
one?
That's so good.
Yeah.
or use it as like little like crampon like hooks to sort of attach
Here's
more
what-
to the pine bough rather than the lights, so we don't have to get too hot.
I think if you wanted to zip line, I think it would be the lights. But there would be
Which
the
one?
potential that if things go wrong, you could get burnt or shocked.
Mhm.
Which over the table, we've talked about this. There's not a harm mechanic in this game, so
Yes.
it's more narrative. It's kind of up to you. But as your character, you would be like, okay, this is I can maybe get my arms big enough around, but like if I don't time it right, the bulb might go up against my forearm.
Mhm.
The pine boughs, I don't think you could zip line down, just the
Yeah.
nature of pine boughs, but could still use the paper clips to kind of help you get some like, some handholds and things like that. So up to you, and also
Like
people can do
shimmy
different
back and
things.
forth.
Yeah, so if some
Yeah.
of you want to zip line and some of you want to just use the pine boughs, that's perfectly acceptable.
In the background, Jelk is just like kind of doing some squats and is like, I could just throw you two, and it's just like making and like has been just making hand motions up there like I could do it.
This is wrong. Oh.
That's an option as well. Jalk could throw you over to the Christmas
Very kind of Jack, but I think I can manage. I've still got a little pep in my step even at my older age. I would like to try with some of my paper clips. Yeah, like a sort of like an ice axe, sort of like to into the wood of the pine, like the stems, sort of like hook onto the pine boughs to sort of get across along like that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I have probably some spare, so I can give them to someone else.
Yeah. I think this is probably 2 roles. The first one I think is probably, I feel like this is resourceful usually, or
Okay.
actually I'll say you could either use resourceful or you could use reasoned. Either of those would fit, and I'll let you use whatever you're better at.
Not very good at either of those. So.
Oh,
I'll do resourceful.
And if you get a good roll on this, it'll make your next roll easier, basically, because you're using something, so it's not it'll probably still be sturdy or agile to like actually get across. But this is like, how well am I manipulating these
I
paper
remember
clips?
someone doing something similar. Let's see if my memory holds. Maybe not.
Oh no!
5 total.
No. Okay,
It was
so
back
on
in the summer of 2003. We were outside climbing the tree.
It like snaps in your hand. So on a result of 6 or lower, your actions are unsuccessful. The guiding voice, which is what the like GM role in this is called, describes what this looks like and how the situation becomes more complicated for you. Here's what I think, though, and Philippa, feel free to like say like Oh no, I feel like Veronetti is the type of character to have either not noticed or not wanted to bring attention to the fact that these paper clips are not as expertly placed
Mm,
as you would like to think. It's up to you
yes.
if you think like otherwise. I don't want to be like your character does this.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's very like, yes, just follow me, everyone. I know exactly what I'm doing. And just completely misses putting it in anything and then just presumably falls out onto the soap.
Oh no. Yeah, I think falls out onto the soap is good, and I think Veronetti, you begin to slide down the mantelpiece.
Oh no.
I kick my little feet. Jalk!
I think Jalk is Jalk is just like, all right, follow exactly as you do. And it's just starting to like repeat. They're like, I got it, Veronetti. So it's when Gwendolisa said something before.
Okay, thankfully Gwendolisa was also on the exact same trip that Veronetti was in the summer of 2003. Remembers how they should be set. And I'll go ahead and make the same roll, but I'm just gonna let you know right now that both my R's are 5. So
oh, good. Okay.
Let's go ahead and roll 2d6. That's a 7 plus 5 is 12.
You do what you intended to do. I will tell you, or if you have something, an extra benefit or advantage that you receive, and you get to describe what it looks like. So, how does this go for you?
So, I remember how the paperclip needs to be set, which is that it needs to, Vernay just unbent it a little too far. I hook mine properly, grab the rubber band cart, and holding onto it with one hand, snap open the cart with the other so that there's now like a bridge that Jalk can grab Veronetti with one hand and the cart with the other before they go woo right off the edge.
I have a pitch for you.
Okay.
Which, since you do get an extra basically thing, I think the extra thing is you're able to snap this out so expertly as you're like, it's not even necessarily what you're trying to do. You catch Veronetti in this thing. So maybe not completely, but like Veronetti's able to grab partially in, kind of grab onto it.
That works. She gets a little scoop.
Yeah, he's scooper.
Oh, is it this is exactly what I did in that previous expedition, was like, come on, Gwendolyn, I know exactly what I'm doing here. Woohoo! And fell out. And this time you're like, not again.
Not this time.
Perfect.
I just kind of I just look at her like, just like old times, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like your head just popping up. I think Jalk is like just kind of like got like a booming laugh that he just starts like laughing a bunch, and it's just like, oh, you two are so entertaining. I love it. Like this is some kind of very complicated like comedy routine that you all do.
Just a very dangerous comedy routine.
Yeah. Clearly, you two are the true adventurers here, well over me. I have a lot to learn.
So just set the first of all, lore mistress, we got a hydrate and a posture check redeem. So if you have drinks and you want to check, I always need the posture check redeems. So to set the scene a little bit, so Jalk, you're on the edge of the mantelpiece furthest from the tree that doesn't have soap scum on it. And Veronetti, I'll say you slid kind of to the midpoint of the mantle, so you were able to kind of like tilt a little bit so that you're not like running into things on
you
here.
know the solo bobsled.
Yes, that's exactly what it's like. Arnica,
to the cart.
Yeah, and Gwendolisa, you I think managed to scoop Verinetti right before she was about to run into the elf on the shelf, this doll here, which would have, it's soft, but it was about to hit it. So you're kind of like in the boughs of like this kind of like pine bough that's here, one hand holding on to that and then one hand holding which now that you've stopped Verinetti, you're not like, it's not like you're dangling or something like that. But yeah, so Gwendolisa and Verinetti are kind of in like the center of the mantle and Jalk's on the other side.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just try to join, probably in the same way. For a second I was like, maybe I try to do like a big Super Mario leap over there, but I think we'll stick with that. Jalk kind of just follows. Is a little better at following.
I think this will probably be, since you're kind of using the paper clips that successfully are like where they need to be. I think this is a sturdy roll from Jalk to make sure that you're able to, like, because you are kind of like, it is like a little bit like monkey bar situation where you're kind of like swinging from thing to thing.
Cool. Okay. Thank goodness, sturdy is a 6. I have because I rolled a 7, but I have 13 total.
Very good. So yeah, you do what you intended to do. And either I can come up with an extra benefit or advantage that you receive from this, or if you have something in mind, feel free to say. And then you also get to describe what it looks like as you are able to just get over to where everyone else is.
I was thinking maybe I'm if there's some like ornaments or something hanging on the pine boughs, I think it's one of those like the like old school like circle ornaments where a lot of times like the glass bit will like fall off and it's just like the little steel part is like left behind. And I think he's kind of able to like grab one of those, like a little hook off with like the little steel like pointy bit where the bulb is somewhere like on the floor like rolling around.
Perfect. Yeah, you tuck that into your very full bag.
Just like kind of hook a little thing off the side.
Might be useful. You could use that for a lot of things. So yeah, now you're all kind of in the center of the mantelpiece. It's very warm here in the center. And it is still, there's a little bit more that it's slippery. What do you want to do?
Just hear muffled from the cut, like, I don't understand why it didn't work. I did the exact same thing I did last time. I start to carefully turn around to follow up more carefully, following everyone else now. I'll follow you, Gwendolyn. You seem to know what's going on. Carefully get onto the bow. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, yeah.
You're muted.
Your ears are muted.
I'm working just fine. The problem is okay. So I don't know why everything's so funny today, y'all. I'm real tired.
It's the week of Christmas. We all got a lot going on.
How am I going to get out? How the hell do we get out of the middle of this fucking fireplace?
Gwendolisa
I'm just hanging in the middle of the fireplace like this is a terrible idea. I could just stay the fuck home.
I've just remembered an interesting piece of tree trivia.
My favorite sentence to hear.
Pine in real life, I think pine trees are quite fire resistant, because they're like evergreen trees, and their sap is quite like, they're quite resistant to fire. So we could roll ourselves up in bits of pine needles as sort of a barrier from the fire. Stop me if it's getting too out of hand at any point. But we could try and get to the top of them so that we're further away, and then it's sort of like the cushioning of the pine stuff might kind of get in the way and form a barrier against the heat from the mantle.
Yeah, I think Go ahead.
Science.
You're
both
trying
me
to
and
kill
my
us all.
character.
You know what would happen if the Pine Barrens in New Jersey caught fire? Don't set a fire.
Here's what I think, because I think, yeah. Arnica has a
Yeah, it
point.
might be the opposite. They might be quite flammable.
It's
I
the
can't remember now. Oh no!
He's just like, put all the fine on you.
I was reading a book
started.
once.
Well, so what I was gonna say, because I was like, I don't know if live pine trees, I don't know if that's true or not, but I was
These pine
going
trees.
to have you roll if you wanted to try to test your luck to see whether these are fresh enough. But I actually think it's true that even when okay, you know what? I'm gonna do some quick
Oh,
research.
ooh. Maybe it could be if they're fake pine, they've been fireproof because obviously it's
Oh.
decorations and those need to
Let's-
be fireproof.
Yeah. Let's test your luck
So-
then. So if you want them to, we'll test and see whether they're fake or whether they're real. If they're real,
Okay.
this isn't a good
That's
idea.
bad.
If they're fake, though, you are right. They would be kind of fireproof.
Okay, my luck is 3 currently, so
Yeah.
oh gosh. Oh no, I rolled the same again. So 5.
Okay, so your luck score doesn't go down at all. But these are like real pine needles. So
He's already like stuck close to it's not helping everyone. It's not helping. It's still
Somehow
very
I'm
warm.
warmer.
More hot. But I just smell nice now.
Jalka's just helping like put more on you. These fake needles smell really real. Just like when I was in the doghouse outside. It smells just like it. They're really these human beings, they're so
So
crafty.
clever, so clever.
I think Jalk and Veronetti, and probably Gwendolisa as well. You definitely would notice since you're putting these real pine needles and branches like as decoration. They are sticky. There is some
Ooh.
sap.
Oh.
On the wall.
Yeah, you go to put your hand on the wall, and it's not enough that you could like climb like up the walls with this, but it might be enough to counteract the slipperiness of the soap on the mantelpiece.
All right. So Gwendolisa stands there in horror for like a whole 90 seconds just watching these two slowly try to turn themselves into tiny dryads. And she goes to stop over and just kind of take a branch from Jalk and be like, what are you doing? But as she grabs it,
Yeah.
she realizes exactly how sticky it is. She's looking at everybody, and I stop. I rub it on the bottom of my shoe. I put my foot down on the real slippery mantle, and it sticks just enough. Like, okay. And I hold the branch up in front of Jalk. I know you're a smart. I'm like, follow me.
Oh,
And I
Jalk,
just
we did
rub
it.
And she was like, great idea, just like this. And I'm I'm being real patient. Just like, you know what? It's just like when my kids were little. I've taught a whole bunch of people do a whole bunch of weirder shit than this. We step up the bottom of our shoes. Boom. It's time to really quickly and sneakily.
Meredith just like crawling around, like, I've got this.
And when Lisa watches you crawl by, and she continues to just walk.
You just got like a really great like camera shot of you walking, and you're just meanwhile
The shot like goes from like making it seem like Veronetti is like needs to be doing this, and then it pulls back and just
pans out.
I feel much more stable. Thank you, Gwendolisa.
I think Jalk is following Gwendolisa because she's like being more of like the leader, so they've like diverted their loyalties for a bit. They're like, whoever seems more confident in charge is the person they'll follow in the minute.
Always a good move. Yeah, Gwendolisa, you're like still like perfectly composed, but I will say I think Veronetti and Jelk are just like very sticky because they're on all fours. You have like kind of soap scum also like getting on your clothes.
So pine in our hair and
Yeah, you're getting you're not getting injured at all, but you are getting very dirty.
this is what it's like on an adventure, Jalk. You've got to be prepared for anything. Stand up next to Gwendolisa. Perfectly turned out. Great.
Veronetti's just like, this is the mark of a true adventurer.
Yes.
When you've got the dirt of the ground on your body, that's when you know.
Perfectly executed.
Perfectly executed. Everything in the middle aside, you have arrived at the far side of the mantelpiece.
Well done, team. We did good.
And I think from this angle now, you're kind of like, okay, so now you know the next step, we have to get to the tree. There is this pine branch that's kind of extended out. I'm going to say probably since we established that the pine boughs are real, the tree is also probably a real tree. It would seem odd to have a household that has artificial tree, but real pine boughs over the mantelpiece. So yeah, this pine tree, you where it is now would be, if you didn't do anything to alter anything, would be a bit of a jump. Not impossible, but you know, a risk. It would have to be a roll to get there. The other thing I'll say is that you notice now, I think maybe where you were before, there's a couch in the room, but it has like a little bit of a higher back. And from this angle now, as you're kind of looking around, you know, kind of going like, okay, what's going on? What's up? You hear kind of a like, and you look over to the couch and see a human being asleep on the couch. Not awake right now, but if something were to fall, maybe. If too much noise were to be made, maybe you could wake up and you would be seen. And there are a lot of bad things that can happen when a floorboard folk is seen. A lot of people won't, you know, like if a human being is to say like, I saw a tiny person on the mantelpiece, a lot of other people might not believe them, but sometimes they'll think to themselves, well, surely that wasn't a tiny little person. I must have seen a mouse. I must have seen some kind of vermin. Which in the past has meant the introduction of a cat into the household. In some circumstances, it could even involve like pest control coming to the house, and all of those things very, very bad for floorboard folk. So I think there's this moment where you're like, that's not good.
Yeah. I think Jalk is like very like largely cartoonishly like pointing super animatedly. I'm sure like you all are like looking straight at it, so there's reason for them to be like, I know you haven't seen it, but I with my special eyes have.
My special eyes.
It's probably making more of a commotion than is necessary.
Oh no. You like gesture and your like hand almost hits like this ornament like off of the mantelpiece. But yeah, what do you want to do?
Well, since my plan went so well before, I think someone else should have a go.
I thought you were going to be like, I'm making another one.
I will if no one else does this round. But, you know, I can't be coming up with all the great ideas.
Okay. So looking around, like you said, it's technically within our reach, but it's technically within our reach as in it's maybe a little too far to comfortably jump. or
Yeah, so it's like it's a distance where it's not like oh, I could just like reach out and grab it. There if you were to try to get there would be a moment when no parts of you would be touching solid ground. Does that like make sense?
Yeah. So you really have to do a leap.
Yeah, and it's not, like I think looking at it, obviously it's up to you. You all know your scores offhand better than I do. So maybe you're looking at it and going like, oh, I could make that leap, no problem. Maybe you're looking at it and going, better not.
now this branch, doesn't this family of beans, didn't they recently acquire a new bean? Don't they have like a
Yes.
toddler bean?
There is a toddler in the house. Mhm.
So then the tree probably is more full of soft things this year than normal. Less
Oh.
breakable shit on the tree, perhaps.
I think if you want to make a luck roll to determine how child-proofed this tree is, I think that's fair. Because the child is new enough that maybe, these are first-time parents, maybe they're like, oh,
Yeah, that word.
we can have some stuff higher up. We just can't have anything at the bottom. Or maybe these are parents who are like, better have no glass on the tree.
All right, I already forgot how to roll my luck.
Yeah, so you'll roll 2d6, you'll add your luck score to it, and you're looking to get a 10.
Oh, nice. I got a 10 before I even added my luck score. So
Perfect.
I rolled a 12.
Perfect. So mark your luck score down by 1 since you succeeded. But yeah, it is how you want it to be. And I'll say, since I don't know exactly what you were going for with wanting it to be this way, things are the way that you want them.
Cool. So as I'm looking over the tree, I'm seeing that the tree has been decorated in a slightly different way this year. None of the ornaments are breakable. The few round ones that made it on are fairly sturdy plastic. There's lots of ribbons, bows, soft things this year. Nothing that will be too loud. Definitely none of those glass bells, the family heirlooms. And the glass bells were my big concern, because you see that whole tree was gonna ring like a motherfucker. This great plan happened next. I turn around and I look at poor Jalk, whose biceps just get felt up randomly. I kind of leak over and poke him. I look him up and down, kind of sturdy, kind of check him out and be like, all right. So, when's the last time you threw somebody?
Too long. They're just like extra flex. Their muscles are kind of like just like their shirt is just, it's really working to hold it together.
I'm gonna have to redo those seams soon if you keep flexing like that. Calm down.
They like immediately like stop flexing for a bit.
So I'll look between myself and Vernon and I'll be like, so one of us needs to get into the chair. When's the last time you got thrown?
Well, the thing about me is, after eating all of the chocolates last year, I've got a lot of extra padding. So if I do fall, I'm sure I'll be okay. To translate that mechanically, my enduring, which allows me to survive things, is quite high. And I'm quite good at other stuff. So Veronetti's all game.
How's your agility look? Because mine's a 1.
Oh, mine's 3. So yeah, okay. So
Oh,
yeah, I think she's still quite. I'm still spry. She starts doing some stretches and limbering up. I'm ready. And she does a little cheerleader pose. Ready?
So good.
Kronk, pull the lever.
Toss me, Jack. Puts her little shoe in Jack's hands, ready to be thrown.
Yeah, Jalk is like, all right.
Yeah, Jalk, I think this is sturdy, definitely, because throw is literally one of the things in sturdy. So go ahead
This
and
is
roll
definitely
me a
what
roll.
Chris Bissett imagined that he put
we can never know for sure.
Oh, one is cocked. Let me redo that. That was the same thing anyway. Okay, I got a 12 with, thank goodness my story
Nice.
is so high.
Perfect. So I think with a 12, you do what you intended to do. I don't think Veronetti even needs to roll anything. So describe for me how this goes off perfectly without a hitch, and if you have an additional benefit that you want to describe, feel free.
Ooh. I wonder if I like toss you just like right onto a soft like ornament. So you're just like on like just kind of drift right onto one.
On my actual Christmas tree, I have like a little felt gingerbread man that's like sewn. So maybe she's like, oh, and like hugs onto it.
Okay, I need you guys to know what I have from 1989 because The Little Mermaid came out at the end of 88. They dropped these Christmas ornaments in the Happy Meals. I still have my stuffed Sebastian the Crab from 1980s. He's still on the tree every year. And that's all I'm imagining is you being thrown onto my stuffed Sebastian the Crab.
Holding on to both his claws.
It's my Christmas crab.
That's so good. I was also imagining my aunt used to work at Carl's Jr. and there was a year where they had star-shaped like stuffed toy element and like and I still have a bunch of them. As a kid I used to just play with them like dolls because they were dressed up as like Nutcracker characters for some reason.
Good.
Okay,
that's what I'm imagining.
Yeah, Veronetti has grabbed onto Schrodinger's Hardy's Jr. / Sebastian the Crab ornament.
I can't tell what this one is. It must have been the small human being that made this one. This stitchwork.
Yeah, and you're over. So that just leaves Gwendolisa and
Well,
Chow.
as I mentioned, I have a little, I'm a slightly larger lady, so I kind of crawl carefully back along the branch to make it kind of like way down a bit to maybe make it closer for them.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think that's a roll. I think that's just physics. So you go towards the end and it makes it a little bit easier for the other two.
Nice. So what I would like to do is we are so close, and now that Veronetti's closer to the end and has the branch kind of weighed down so that it's real close to us, I'm gonna reach over, I'm gonna unhook the very last paper clip on the chain on the bow, and I'm gonna grab a little piece of ribbon off that same garland. I'm gonna tie them together, and I'm gonna just real gently just whoop it over to Veronetti so that now there's something to grab onto so that it's a real safe, just little swoop, hop and swing over.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think
we could even tie it so that we can get back.
Ooh.
To keep the branch down.
Cleverness of us.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think absolutely you can do that. I think just to see basically like how well it like ties and all of that kind of stuff, if you're able to find something like secure enough to like leave it there, or how strong like the ribbon is, like et cetera, et cetera. I do think this is a roll because it is, it's a little risky. And I think this is probably Gwendolisa, I do think it is resourceful because that's escape, fix, or track. Or actually, reasoned also has construct though. So, but you have the same in both, right? You have.
I do. I've got a 5 in both of them.
Yeah.
So I rolled a 6 plus a 5. I got an 11.
Perfect. Yeah. So you do what you intended to do. Describe what it looks like. And I'll say no one else needs to roll to get onto the tree. So like you doing this is like Jalk is able to get across, Gwendolisa is able to get across, and it leaves a way for you to get back out. But yeah,
cool.
What's it look like?
So I reach behind me to the swag of garland. I untie a length of plaid ribbon. I connect it to the last of the paper clips that Veronetti handed me. Just kind of lasso it over. She catches it real easy. She connects her side to the tree. I connect my side to the branches, and that nice width of plaid ribbon forms a steady little bridge that we can just kind of across.
Perfect. You're all now on the tree, which is great. The danger of falling is like pretty like you still could fall, negative consequences could happen, but unlike the mantelpiece, if you fall off of the tree, there's other branches below, so it's not quite as dire. There are, though, you can hear even in the tree the kind of sound of the electricity through these lights. And I think even as you're kind of, again, looking around, I'll also say visibility is a lot worse now that you're in the tree because there's all these branches around. So you can definitely peek out and look, but you know, there's always the unpredictability of a toddler or a human being showing up, and maybe you don't have the best visibility to see that happening. But yeah, as you're looking kind of in the tree and following the Christmas lights down, I think you even see one that's kind of like shorting out a little bit, and it's like, this is it's good that they don't have breakable lights. The next thing they need to, or breakable ornaments, the next thing they need to do is upgrade these lights, I think. But yeah, what do you want to do?
You know, I don't know if anyone else went on one of these jungle gyms as a kid where they were like a big pyramid, and they would have like the little like sort of parachute stuff where you could climb up, and then they would have a pole in the middle and you could just like slide down. So I'm wondering if we went towards the center of the tree, there'll be less lights there and it will be thicker branches. We might be able to climb down more towards the center of the tree and stay away from the lights and maybe slide down bits of the tree. That's Veronetti adding that last bit. Oh, let's slide down.
I'm but so old and feeble.
Yeah, then she catches us. I mean, carefully pick our way down, obviously, but also slide. She's got the glint in her eye of adventure.
Yeah, like I imagine you like kind of like a little hunched over, but on the inside, like your little thought bubble is like, yes.
Love that.
Okay, that works. So I'm sorry, I'm staring at my Christmas tree is directly across from us, so I'm just kind of staring at it, and I'm navigating us through my tree right now.
I can move to the side a little bit. I put my tree behind me on this side, so if you need another visual aid.
So as we kind of shuffle in along the branch, away from the edges and away from the lights, the interior of the tree is definitely more spacious. It's easier to move around. There's not so many things for us to bump into, to knock off, but there's way more space that we can fall from, because all the needles on the outside are the safety measure. So the good news is we're less likely to be seen or knock something off. The bad news is if we fall, we're actually gonna fall.
Let's hold hands.
Let's hold hands. We're holding hands and we're shuffling.
Yeah. Good. Jalk is in the middle, like like
little conga line along the branch.
Yeah.
No roll needed to hold hands and conga around the tree. So you're holding hands as you're trying to get like down the branches. Am I understanding correctly, or you're just holding hands to get to the center of the tree?
Just to get to the center.
To get to the center.
Yeah, you get to the center, no problem. Yeah,
it's more for comfort than for you know.
Yeah, shimmy over. Yeah, love it. What now? What's the next step?
Well, is there anything to help us climb down? Thinking back to my days.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe like looking around to see if there are some climbing elements.
Somebody who wants to give me a perceptive roll. Actually, well, I won't say all of you do it, because if somebody fails, then I'll have to come up with a bunch of different like complications or whatever. So just one of you, I think. And Jalk has the highest perceptive.
Jalk, use your special eyes.
Yeah. Chalk's just like, it feels like we should have had another.
Like there should have been someone whose perceptive was their high score, and so
Jalk just looks over, and there's a dotted, small dotted empty spot, and Jalk's just like, I feel forlorn for some reason, but I don't know why.
I can't believe that other borrower team poached our last member.
Yes. I'll say because
feeding a whole turkey surely doesn't take a whole extra person.
We just zoom out and we see like another group with like a bunch of people and resources. Just like
I'll say also, so Darcy's character was named Monty Underbed, I think.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, Monty Underbed, and was like a high perception like student. So I think in this shot, Darcy specifically said that their character had a crush on someone. So I think we see these borrowers like under this like turkey, and Percival High Shelf and Monty Underbed end up next to each other carrying this turkey.
Oh, look, they're holding hands while they're holding the turkey. It's so cute.
Everyone is always holding hands. another timeline. Yes, I'll go ahead and roll the perception.
Okay, so I got a 7 because I rolled real bad. 3 and a 1.
7 is okay. So a 7 is Jalk, I know perfectly what this is. On a 7 to 9, you do what you intend to do, but with a complication or cost, and I describe what happens. So first, the good news. You look around and you see in the tree, there's a lot of like, even maybe as you're shuffling in. Claire Frall, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. We're playing Under the Floorboards. We're little borrower folk in a tree. And I hope you had a good stream, whatever it was. So yeah, Jalk, as you're kind of like shuffling in, I think you see a lot of, actually, there's some on my tree, because I don't know what they're called. These little things that don't have bulbs attached to them. Maybe they just got lost in it. I don't even know. I'll do the makeup influencer. The little things that you use to hold ornaments on.
Hangers.
Yeah. And are able to grab some of those and say like, okay, these are pretty bendable, but like we could, like maybe braid some together and make something a little bit sturdier that we could use to get around. But here is the complication. The other thing that you do not see, but you do perceive, is you hear kind of scrabbling sound at the door, like the front door of the house. And Jalk, you know what this is. This is the dogs that want to be let in. Jalk, how is your relationship as having formerly lived in the doghouse? What is Jalk's relationship with these twin like bull terriers that are kind of, which I say not to demonize bull terriers. My mom has 2 bull terriers, so that's why it's not like, oh, they're terrifying. It's just because this is based on my parents' house. But what's your relationship with these dogs?
I think Jalk likes one, but not the other one. But I think both the dogs really like Jalk, but I think like one gets like way more affectionate, which to Jalk is like, oh no.
Yeah, and they're so big to you. Like they're like dragon sized.
Like every once in a while, I feel like Jalk's will like that one will like carry it around, kind of like, a dog like holds like a stuffed animal, and it's just like happy to like kind of like carry it and walk around with it. Like that's happened every once in a while to Chocolate. He's like, no.
Oh, I love that so much. So Jalk, yes, you hear the scrabbling at the door of these dogs like pawing to be like, hey, let us in. And hear kind of a kind of grumpy sound coming from the person who's asleep on the couch. So you've got, you can't see it, but something's really about to shake things up on the floor where you need to get to.
Oh no. Jelk just kind of like turns like 180 to the other two and it's just like, no, they're letting those demon beasts in. And y'all are
There's
just like,
I've seen them out the window. There's something wrong with them. How can one beast create so much saliva? That's horrible. Surely we'll drown if they come near us.
True.
All right, so
I
I've got
love
some
too
bad
hard.
news. And the bad news is that y'all have now lost reasonable Gwendolisa because you see, the dogs are not allowed in the sewing room. Gwendolisa does
Oh.
not get to engage with the dogs. And she loves the dogs. She wants to ride a dog. It's been a lifelong fantasy. She literally stops for a moment. She's no longer in the tree. She's envisioning herself standing upon the back of these little bulldogs, ripping their collar, wet hair flowing in the wind as they just slobber their way across. Like, you've lost her. She's in the fantasy now.
I feel like the times that Jalk has probably been like being carried around and is like, please, someone. Gwendolisa's just like, one day.
That was me.
Just looking out the window.
You don't deserve it, Jalk. You don't appreciate
it. So good. What are you doing? What are you doing with this new information that the dogs need to be let in and the human being
I think we want to get in and out fast before they get in.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder also if we're carefully climbing down, if we can start to see the labels of the presents at the bottom. Are any labeled to the dogs?
Oh my gosh. That's so good. Yeah, make me actually I was gonna say perceptive. I think this is luck.
Yeah,
I think this is more
is
like
this,
not
is this
so
a family
much
that does dog
that
presents?
does gifts for the dogs, and is it in a place where you'd be able to see it? Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, 2d6 and then add your luck 7. Okay, so you have to go to 10 for luck for it to be the way that you want it to be. So you don't mark it down. Yeah, you keep your same luck score. But yeah, you're like kind of frantically looking around to see if there's anything labeled.
This writing's so big, I can't see anything.
And you don't see any dog bone shaped gifts wrapped under the tree. You do see which you would recognize because it was wrapped. It was in the process of being wrapped when Jelk saw it. The thing you're looking for, which are these chocolates, which is maybe why they're like, we're not going to wrap the dog gifts under the tree nearby where there's like also chocolate wrapped under the tree.
Oh no,
the dog gifts are somewhere else. But yeah, don't see them there.
Just gotta get in and out.
Yeah. I think, okay, so I think if you're trying to be fast with this, I think each of you is going to have to make an agile roll.
Oh no!
Because
I mean, that's what Veronetti's doing. If Gwendolisa wants to go a little slower, following Veronetti's path.
Oh no, this will be real funny. Gwendolisa gonna make the agility roll.
Cool. So you're all like, okay, we're on like a time crunch now. We really need to get going. We don't have time to like craft something or do something. We just have to act. So yeah, each of you make me an agile roll. Oh no.
5 again. I keep rolling 1 and 2.
Oh no.
What bad roll.
I also have a 5. Roll the 4 plus 1.
Oh no.
I also rolled a 5. I rolled snake eyes.
Philippa, what did you get?
I got 5 as well.
You all got 5
across the board.
Oh my god. Okay.
Well, casino rules. We should get casino rules.
I think the last thing we see before we're gonna go to break while I figure out what to do with all of you is you start scrabbling down and you're all holding hands still kind of. And as you start to go, I think first first Veronetti loses her grip, which pulls Gwendolisa down. Jalk, you managed to hold on for just a little longer. Your biceps kind of struggling until it's too much, and the three of you are beginning to fall down the Christmas tree, and we'll go to our break. I have to say things. Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
Bye. Hello, everyone. We are back with our second half of the Great Chocolate Caper, our Under the Floorboards holiday one shot, and we're going to get right back into the action. So, where we left off is our three adventurers had been in a hurry to scurry down the Christmas tree to get to the package that they're trying to get to. And we got 5s across the board, which is bad. Under a 6 is a complete failure. So you're all falling. For 2 of you, the complication is not going to be the most creative thing I've ever thought of, but I'll leave it up to the 2 of you to describe, as there's no like specific injury mechanic. Either you can choose kind of a degree of injury to your choice that will affect role play, not affect your stats or anything like that. Or if you'd like, you can have broken a piece of equipment. That is for Veronetti and Jalk, the 2 of you. Gwendolisa, I do have something a little bit different for you, which is, I'll describe that first and then I'll throw it over to the other 2 of you to describe what exactly has befallen. But Gwendolisa, you are falling. As all 3 of you are kind of trying to scramble to like grab onto things or like find purchase somewhere and just kind of boo, boo, boo. Gwendolisa, you are falling straight down and no branches are getting in your way to break your fall. And you can just see the ornaments and the branches and the pine trees passing you by, your hands finding no purchase, and you land on a mercifully soft Christmas gift at the base of the tree. And the bad thing that happens to you is once down here, you hear a little bit of like rustling and you look over and you see someone that you recognize, someone that you weren't expecting to see here or probably ever again. Your ex. I have a name if you didn't have one in mind.
You should probably name him.
Okay, your ex Ambode is also here, and I would love for you to let me know the thing that when you see him makes you furious just looking at him.
Okay. So here's the thing. If anybody asks, and everybody has asked, nobody's seen Ambode really around the neighborhood in a solid like 10 years. And every time anyone asks, I swear to God, he got ate by a cat. But the fact of the matter is that he's just, Lord, he just sucks. Everything about him was just exhausting. I was raising enough children. I didn't want to raise this grown one too. So I ran him out the house. I definitely did not run him out the house at sword point and then say that I fought a grasshopper when people ask, because that would be a terrible thing to do. I'd never lie to my children like that. But you see, around his neck, he is wearing a little tiny, it was just a little chip of a gem, fell off the, like just a little crusting of a pave piece, but like it's a real human being gem. And it was supposed to be for Peep. One day Peep was going to grow up and Peep was going to get married, and this was going to be the necklace that Peep was going to have. And this piece of shit has it. I could see it just dangling around his scrawny, waddled neck. He smells like he's been living under the boiler, because he lives under the boiler. What kind of respectful borrower lives under a boiler? Do you know how it smells in that musty ass bit? Musty. Okay, I'm fine.
So you've fallen and I think made like a little dent in like whatever cardboard of the packaging that you've landed in. And C, Ambode, who, I mean, for you to put up with all of this, he's gotta be handsome, but he looks like a rascal. He's got a crooked grin and sharp eyes. And you just basically see this. You see him like frozen, like deer in the headlights, and then he goes to dive under the tree skirt.
Okay. So I wonder what you. I'm trying to figure out what you would make me roll if I decided I wanted to throw my sword and see if I can pin him.
Oh my god, that would be incredible.
Okay, I'm gonna throw my sword.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to pin him. Now I don't particularly care if I accidentally stab him, but the goal is to pin his clothes to the floor.
Yeah. I feel like this is agile because you're like throwing, well, sturdy is throw, but I feel like sturdy is more the force of the throw, not the aim. So I think this is agile to try to just kind of like dart, like throw your sword and pin him so he can't get away.
Okay, so plus my agile is only a 1. I have a 9.
A 9. Okay, so it's a mixed success. You do what you intended to do, but with a complication or cost. And then I describe what happens. Here's what I think, and this will also help introduce Veronetti and Jalk into the scene, is you, just without even thinking, pull out your sword, throw it, and pin him. And it's not like a grievous injury, but you get him a little bit. There's a little bloom of blood on his shoulder as you pin through his sleeve to the wall. And this is what Veronetti and Jalk see as they have hit a few more of the branches on the way down. And feel free to describe whether you're injured, whether you've like broken an item, whatever it is that you want to have happened on your way down.
I can't decide if like some of the stuff that Jalk is carrying has gotten all like smashed up because they've got this giant pack.
Land on the backpack.
Yes.
I think that makes sense more than them getting like hurt. But we do get like a comical like cartoon like bouncing between the branches as they're just like pinballed around for a little bit, and you hear a lot of yelping.
Oh, yeah, and you land flat on this giant backpack, and we can just hear like the crunch of like whatever you have in there.
I feel like Veronetti's like, nah. It's like a lot of her stuff.
Yeah, and how's
my
Veronetti
lunch was
doing?
in there?
Oh
Everything's got like ranch dressing or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like, you could, as Veronetti says that, there's like kind of like an oily spot that gets on the backpack of where the lunch was.
There's just paper and they're disintegrating.
Yeah. But yeah, so Veronetti's stuff is broken in Jalk's backpack. What else? What other bad things?
I think Veronetti has fallen quite, she had her thimble hat on, so she was quite top heavy. So I think at one point she's boom off of a branch, which has luckily protected her noggin, but the thimble has cracked through the picture of the dog. So it looks like the dog's head has been cracked off from the bottom. And there's just a big split down the middle. Like, my favorite hat! Oh no! Jan, my hat! No!
You barely have time to register that before you see
and then I'm just like,
as someone pinned to the ground. I don't know if either Jalk or Veronetti has ever seen Ambo before. I don't know. He's been gone for a while.
Of Ambo.
Yeah, I feel like it probably isn't the case that Jalk has seen them, or if they have, it was just like there's a person somewhere in the boiler or something, but like not with the connection of like who this is.
Maybe I had seen him because we're old friends, Gwendolisa, so maybe I did know him a little, but maybe we weren't so close until our grandkids, got engaged. So I don't know much about him.
I feel like Jalk, if you're firing something at someone, Jalk would also like be kind of attack ready because they're like, I don't know why you've just thrown something at another bar. Or, like, this must be like, some really bad situation.
Ambo is just on the ground, like his arm that's not pinned which his arm isn't pinned, but his shirt is up like this, and he's like, I don't want any trouble. I didn't think I was gonna run into anyone here. I can be on my way.
Yeah, I imagine this is like those like soccer players, football players that like really overact their injuries.
He's flopping,
he's like, oh my arm.
You think he's overreacting. You think all the cringing and everything is overreacting until there's a little blur goes right past you, and it's Gwendolisa, and she is now kicking the shit out of him, all up and down, like. None of the vital organs, but all his thighs and his ass. She's literally just kicking him in his ass on, I told you can't come up here. You're not allowed on this floor anymore.
I thought you were alive. You had eaten.
He's like, I just needed to get some batteries. Someone always gives batteries as a gift. I'll leave. Just trying to get the sword pulled out.
Do you think
I'm confused? Should I be hitting him or not? What do I do?
Yes, hit him.
Okay, just a little kick. Do you think do you think that Gwendolisa would have told about Peep's gem?
No, she told you. She told everybody he got eaten.
Okay, yeah. In that case, I'm there like, yeah, a little kick, Jalk. Yeah, just a little kick.
Yeah, he's definitely Ambo is like kind of like again like very dramatically, but isn't super hurt by this. It's just kind of like twisting out of the way as getting
give me a little tussle.
Yeah, it's turning into more of a wrestling match as he's like kind of trying to get out of the way of everyone. Pulling on the sword, which is set quite firmly into the like actual wooden floor below all the presents. I didn't think you were. I mean, I don't know when the last time that you were out on an expedition was. You can't blame me. I didn't think I was gonna run into you here.
I kick him again. I know, it's almost like I was raising a whole bunch of kids by myself. Well, I wasn't any good at it.
He's still just kind of like moving. I think also with all this commotion, you all hear the skittering of the human has kind of over to the door and let the dogs in, who are immediately. They've been outside, running around the yard. They've got all this energy. It was cold out there, so they're kind of like looking for a good place to sit. The human's kind of like, like trying to wrangle them. One of them like runs over to the food dish, runs back over to the couch. A lot of like running around you. And I think also you hear from somewhere in the house, the baby, the toddler, has been woken up from a nap, and you can hear the crying upstairs as this human being is like, oh my god, the dogs are barking. It's just trying to like take care of whatever is happening. A lot of chaos.
Jalk like
terrible plan ever.
Yeah, I feel like Jalk is in the middle of like bonking like Ambo, and then just kind of freezes and is like, no.
The dogs.
Is like trying to take more pine to like get his smell like away, because like, no, those dogs, they're
Jalk,
trying
throw
to
the lunch, distract them. It's ruined anyway, throw it at them to distract them. I start scrabbling in your back. Like, quick, get it out.
I think, yeah, you can hear Jalk the sniffing of the dogs, recognizing potentially there's like something familiar is in the air. I think, Jalk, if you want to be able to conceal your scent or distract the dogs or something like that, it's going to be a roll. What method are you using? Are you trying to do something to make it so they can't smell you? Are you trying to do something to distract them? What's your aim here?
Huh. I think, yeah, I think I will. I think like initially I'm like panicking, so I'm just like trying to cover myself. But I think maybe if we have like a minute or two, Jalk would probably have like a better sense of what would distract the dogs because they like lived in the doghouse for a while. I feel like they have like a few things where they're like, I know that, they really like soft toys and like maybe we can throw one of the ornaments or something.
Yeah. I think if you're wanting to look for something to distract, and there's definitely things around to. Oh no, Arnica's in the Twitch chat saying, I have an evil plan.
I think I may have had the same thought. I'm very excited to hear it.
Yeah, so should we have Jalk do the distract roll first, or should we hear out the plans? What's the
let Jalk
I mean,
Okay.
they might distract.
Yeah, it might not
Yeah,
work.
I feel like Jalk would kind of have completely forgotten about everything happening here and would just be
Yes.
focusing on the dog. So
I think this is cunning because it's deceive, detect, conceal. I feel like this is a cunning roll. So 2d6 plus your cunning.
Okay, cool. I got a 10. So finally,
Perfect.
a good roll.
Yeah. You do what you intended to do. Describe what it looks like. So you don't get like an extra
Cool.
benefit, but you accomplish distracting the dogs.
Cool. Yeah, I think like maybe for a little bit I am trying to pull like an ornament off of the tree and then happen to just see one that's kind of like laying on the floor that's like already fallen off and is just like, okay, like muscles cracking because it's like a big for me ornament and it just like toss it as far out of the tree so like we get like the out of tree like human perspective shot and just like a random ornament like peeks out from under the tree.
Perfect.
And kind of slides like right past the dogs who are just like
yeah, they go skittering, like kind of like even tumbling over each other to get to this ornament. I think almost bowling over, like it's like the thing of when like your dog like runs into the back of your kneecap and it's like, oh, like almost knocks you down as they're on their way to go tend to the crying child. The chaos of the Biggie's world is alleviated a little bit. But we do have an evil plan.
Yeah, so Jalk is like, all right, problem solved on my end, and whatever chaos is happening.
Yeah, what's Gwendolisa doing?
So Gwendolisa is watching Jalk, and it's not a bad plan. It has absolutely gotten the dogs away from the tree for a minute. But there's only one ornament and there's two dogs. And I don't trust that both of them nervous things are just gonna not come back. They love Jalk so much. Because, they just love picking up a little guy and toting him around.
It'd be a shame if they were to do that.
So I think that really the best way to make sure that the dogs leave.
Oh no, I just realized what you're doing.
Is to grab my ex-husband in a headlock, pull my sword free so that he's unpinned from the floor, and I'm dragging him over to the edge of the tree. And I'm gonna whistle for the dogs.
Can I help by like maybe pulling off some taffeta to tie a little bow around it?
Yes, ties are.
Because imagine you're like telling me, you're telling this to me as I'm like, oh yes, good idea.
And I yank Peep's necklace off him and I kick him in his ass so that he stumbles down from under the tree in front of the dogs.
I love the idea that Jalk is like coming back from like, I have solved the dog menace problem and then immediately hears the whistle. No.
What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna make you roll for this. I want this to happen as much as you do.
I promise you don't want this to happen. This is my Christmas present to you.
So, Jalk, you come back, and then these other two borrowers have neatly carefully packaged Ambode and pushed him out from under the tree. And Gwendolisa whistles, and the dog that didn't end up with the ornament that you threw runs over, and I think just picks Ambode up by the neat bow and trots off. And it's very like the thing of like when you give a dog an egg and they just are holding it like this dog is just kind of, and Ambode is like just carried away. And I think anyone who's paying attention to Ambode honestly looks relieved. looks
the easy way out, really.
A little relieved to be out of this situation as he's carried away from his ex.
And don't come back.
Very good. You're alone in the living room, and you've got this package of chocolates to retrieve, which, because Jalk rolled well on the test your memory roll at the beginning, knows which package it is. So it's like, okay, this is the wrapping that it was. This is, what the note said on it and everything. And so you're able to find it. It is, for like a human, it would be, like this size kind of box of chocolates. But for the three of you, that's huge. And I think there's a couple different things that could happen. You could try to get the whole thing back up to the tree, back across the mantle, and that would be like its own kind of set of, you have to figure out how to do that. You have to make some rolls, figure out how it goes. Then another option could be get it unwrapped, take as many chocolates as you can fit into your bag. Jalk has a lot of room in their bag now since all of these things have been broken.
And the cart.
And the cart. So could definitely get several pieces of chocolate that are probably about the size of your head, if not bigger. So that could be the other thing. If you do that, no rolls really necessary. It's kind of video game rules where it's like you get to the end of the dungeon and then it's like, oh, getting back out is no problem. You've set things up for yourself so you can get back out. A third option is there are a lot of other really good things in the living room. So you could get these chocolates and then maybe just kind of, there's some batteries in the remote. There's some other things I mentioned that are out from the tree. The danger, of course, would be that that's pretty much out in the open. So what are you all thinking you want to do next?
Well, since my sword is already drawn, we could use it to just kind of cut open the back of the present and to cut through the cardboard and just remove a bunch, like the whole bottom layer of chocolates, which should fill the cart and our bags. I don't know if we got the space for a full box. There's like 50 of them freaking bonbons in that size box. But we could probably clear out that whole bottom layer and they'd never even know. And maybe we could bust into some batteries.
Yes, I was just thinking, we're not the first back after seeing that turkey going from the kitchen. But we could come back with extras. That would be fun. I have been thinking about redecorating the music box. Jalk, we could do your room up if we got some of that wrapping paper. You can see some nice little sparkly ribbons and things. So yeah, maybe we load up and then we get some extra. I like that idea, Gwendolisa.
Yeah. I like that too. I feel like it makes sense, especially if everyone's kind of amped up from like getting amboed with that dog. It's like we can't be stopped or invincible.
Yeah.
I need to replace my hat as well.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah, new hat.
Okay, I think it's not terribly hard. The first part of the plan, Gwendolisa, of getting the wrapping cut open and getting into the box and taking some chocolates. Not terribly hard to do. I do think it's a roll, and I do think it's a cunning roll, because that is like unlock is like one of the things with cunning. So to get into it, because of course you would know if you accidentally pierce into the chocolates, it's going to be a mess. Everything's going to get sticky. And then there's also always the
They're going to
danger
get
of
merry.
yeah, the danger of hearing the little crinkly sounds of attracting one of the dogs, a human, or of course the toddler. Toddlers love to hear people open snacks.
They do. So real.
So I think this is a cunning roll to see if you can do this without attracting attention or accidentally.
All right. Oh, I nailed that. I got an 11 before I even add my modifier. So 14.
Perfect. You are able to do it without a problem. And what is the extra benefit or advantage? Do you have an idea of an extra benefit that you would like to achieve during this?
Yeah, actually. My sword is feeling super sharp, and I managed to very neatly cut out that entire, not just the small back panel we need, but since Veronetti did say that she and Jalk are looking to redo the thing, I go ahead and I managed to get that entire back panel in one. There's no snags, there's no tears. It looks like a Biggie did it with one of their little giant blade things.
Perfect. Yeah, you have this really primo piece of wrapping paper, and then basically as many chocolates as you can carry to take back with you. Are you going to try to get some batteries? Is that next on the docket, or you want to try to head back while you're still ahead?
Heck no, we're doing so good. Look at this.
I gotta double down. You know when you're doing well.
Yeah, we're doing
you keep
good.
going.
Yeah, you fell out of a tree.
The backpack
two
full
minutes
of
ago.
bonbons. We can fit a battery in here, no problem.
My day's been going good. Do you not see that beautiful fire truck? All these noisemakers that toddlers get for Christmas. At least two of them have batteries. All we got to do is get into the battery compartment of, you know what was my kid's favorite thing? I hated it so much. God, that fucking sound. He had one of them tops. You put the 2 AA's in it. He pushed down, it lit up, and it sung, and it made animal sound. I hated it because by the time it started breaking, it would do all of them simultaneously. It would make the animal sounds while it sang. Oh, what a demonic noise at 3 a.m.
That's very good. Yeah, do you want to try to go? So there's definitely like some toys in the living room, like not wrapped, just like this is the living room. The toddler has toys out in here. Could get some batteries from that. They won't be fresh batteries, but they still have some juice in them. Or do you want to try to look in, like try to find a gift that might have brand new batteries? Up to you.
Let me try to roll and see if I can find a gift for fresh batteries.
Yeah, I think this is perceptive, to see if you can find something that looks battery gift shaped.
All right, let's 9. Perception is 2, so I got an 11.
Great. you I think the only bad roll I think that Gwendolisa has had was falling from the tree. Yeah, you do what you intended to do. Describe what it looks like. So I think all 3 of you were kind of like, all right, looking for batteries, this is the next thing, and Gwendolisa on a roll finds something.
So just kind of towards the back of the tree where the kid will not see it because it's behind some slightly bigger stuff, there is it's very educational and it's very new. Fucked if a borrower knows what it is. It's so much. It's a touchpad something or other. But the wrapping paper on it is exquisite. And as it cuts open so smooth, right there, it's one of those extra fancy ones that doesn't have plastic over it. So I can just climb into the box and go around back and it doesn't even have batteries in the compartment. It has batteries included in the plastic thing next to it.
Yeah.
You just have to grab the plastic thing and take the batteries.
Everything's coming up, Gwendolisa. You got
It's a
rid
great-
of
it's a
your
great
ex.
Christmas.
You dispatch your ex off to this dog. You get these perfectly. You just with one hand do that. With one hand, cut open this box of chocolates.
Look,
as
this is the kind of
Veronetti and Jalk are
this is the
unloading it.
kind of adventure that every middle-aged woman deserves. As soon as she packs her last kid off, and you're like, you know what? This is my time to woman. This is exactly the kind of adventure everyone should have, where you get to feed your ex to a dog and get batteries and chocolates.
This is how Gwendolisa got her groove back. Essentially, is this adventure
with a giant alcohol bottle the size of yourself.
with chocolate. What more could you want?
Jalk is just like, this is what adventure should be. We're having a moment in the background.
Yeah, Veronetti and Jalk, you can just watch in awe as Gwendolisa just kind of gets the chocolates open and is like, all right, off to find some batteries, slices into a package, walks in, comes out with a pack of batteries.
She's been through so much. I'm so glad for her. It's all turning up tops now.
Veronetti and Jalk, is there anything that the two of you want to try to do while it seems like you're on a hot streak?
Ooh.
If the answer is no, that's fine. If you want to just be like, we should go.
I do have a great desire for a new hat.
Oh, yes.
And you were mentioning that some of the ornaments were decorated like little nutcrackers. Do any of them have little fuzzy, palace guard? Is it Busby hats or whatever they're called?
Yeah. Those the tall fuzzy ones.
Yeah, the tall fuzzy ones. So I was just wondering if there's any other nutcracker decorations, maybe at the base of the fireplace or somewhere I could try and scamper out to.
Yeah, Philippa, how can I say no to you? How can I say no to your desire for a little hat? There absolutely is one. The risk, of course, is I think it is a little nutcracker that's about as tall as you that was on the TV kind of entertainment center kind of thing.
Yes, yeah.
And has been knocked off at some point either by the child or one of the dogs or one of the cats. And is kind of on the ground. And you will have to risk being out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there ripe for the borrowing.
I am going to finish tearing off a little bit more of wrapping paper. Put it over myself. A bit more commando crawling is my specialty. Get over to this hat. I imagine also I've been sort of scanning around oh my thimble broken. It's sort of like anime, zoom in on this notebook so, yeah, I get some wrapping paper and
I think because you're using the wrapping paper, I do think this is cunning. Because you're basically trying to sneak as opposed to just trying to dart over there. So go ahead and roll cunning. 2d6 plus
quite good at cunning. So that is 10 total.
Perfect. You do what you intended to do. Describe what it looks like.
It's from the human's view, it's just this little piece of wrapping paper it's just so slow. Blending in with the carpet, and then just a little hand grabs the hat immediately on, now sticking out of the wrapping paper, back like a little caterpillar. Then I roll out on the cheek
ta-da! There's there's definitely a little sound.
Yeah. My hair, which was already a bit of a sort of curly mess, has gone through pine needles, it's gone through falling through the tree. Now I've squashed this hat down so it's just woohoo! Literally.
A good amount of carpet lint also has stuck to some of the
jumper,
the sap. It just helps you blend in more.
I'm very fuzzy all over. That is jumper actually. In real life.
Yeah.
Gwenda leaves the
Perfect.
box over and picks the one piece of lint that was on the hat off the hat.
Yes.
The rest of you is still a mess, but the hat is now pristine.
Thank you,
Looks you up
darling.
and down
Thank
and
you.
goes, "It's exquisite. I love
I'm
it."
on the floor like, thank you, thank you.
Jalk, do you have anything in mind for an extra little something that you would like to pick up while you're here?
Yeah, I think Jalk is eyeing like I think that I've at least seen, I've never been given one of these, but like just like a little basket of like sliced like salami and like different
Mm,
like meat like
yes.
things.
Mhm.
So Jalk is just like turning into like a gym bro now, I guess.
Gotta get those
Like my
gains.
gains. All that protein just I think
Pure
maybe
protein.
yeah, I feel like maybe they are trying to learn from like a human being that they're like a more maxed out human being version of what I want to be, and I saw them eating this kind of stuff.
I think this is perfect. I think actually you look, you're kind of like looking around for something like this. And I think you do see it. I think you see the gift thing. And I think it's maybe even like you're looking around for it and you can see it like on the table in the next room. Like you can see it through to another thing. And you're like, oh, that's
Mhm,
pretty far. I don't know if I should do that. But as you're looking around for your options, you do see a nice big piece of like whatever kind of cured meat, and like some
mhm.
cheese and crackers on a plate next to the couch where the human being was sleeping.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'm just like, yes, a feast for Jelk.
Perfect. Are you just gonna try to run for it? Is there anything that you're doing? Like, are you trying to sneak? Are you trying to
Ooh.
use something to get it? Totally up to you, but it'll just determine what stat you're rolling with.
Oh, okay. Let me think. I think maybe what I do is I try to like use my hammer to like hit the table and see if I can knock some like
Yes.
onto the ground. Like I think you see a few minutes of Jalk being like, "Can I get up to run?" Oh, here we go.
Yeah. I think that could either be sturdy because you are like just trying to knock this table hard enough that the salami comes down. That's your high one, so I'm assuming that's what you would want.
Yeah.
I think it could also be resourceful because you're kind of like trying to use something to get to this other thing. Up to you what you want to do.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll go with sturdy. Okay, yeah, so that is 13.
Perfect. So you do what you intended to do. I think I know the extra benefit, unless you have something specifically you're looking for. But describe
I'm
what it
good
looks
with.
like. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying you can go ahead and do the benefit. I didn't have anything.
I think what it is you are just kind of like the salami is I think again we get a shot from like what this would look like from like the biggie's perspective. So it's just the table kind of like shaking a little bit, and this big, chunk of like salami just is rolling a little more with every time and then goes up over the edge of the plate and tumbles down. And I think in doing so tips the plate and like the cheese and the crackers and everything just kind of is like soaring through the air. A
Yeah, like
feast
a
for
slow-mo
Jell.
pan of like this piece coming down. Chalk's just like, yeah.
Just bag open.
Like raining down like all this like cured meat and cheese on this still like very sticky body. So that's just a mess.
um so yeah, you've all managed to get not only what you were supposed to be here for, but also some extra treats and things like that. And I think you can hear the sound of like the human being kind of coming back down the stairs, not like immediately, but is like, and you can hear like the toddler kind of like, some like baby talk and and things like that, where you're like, all right, probably best to get out of here. And like I said, I won't make you roll for anything to get back up. Climbing climbing up the tree, you can take your time even though you're weighed down a little bit. And I think even hoisting up this collapsible thing, like you're all able to kind of like tie a ribbon to it, something like that, and wrap it around, not wrap it around, but like pull it along a tree branch and hoist it up with you. Um, so the way that the game works is there's the third act, because the game's kind of split into three parts. Is there's some questions that you'll all ask at the end, and then I'll also set the scene for another little thing. But before we do that, are you having any conversations? Is there anything that you're doing on your little trek back to your homes to deliver the goods?
Yeah. So as we're all rigging our pulley and getting the cart up, I look at Veronetti, I give her a little smile, and I give her one of these, and I'm like, "You want to know a secret?
Obviously.
All right. You have to pretend to be surprised at dinner tonight because they haven't told anybody. They didn't tell me. Like, they need to tell me. Like, I'm not her mother. Like, I haven't done this 3 times before. Guess what we're getting for Christmas, Veronetti? Peep is pregnant. I get to be a grandmama too, just like Veronetti. We're very excited about this. So I've ruined the surprise for both of our children because I'm a busybody and I know what a pregnant borrower looks like and I can't stop myself.
Oh my goodness. Well, oh no, we should have got some non-liqueur chocolates. Oh no. Oh. She's like holding on to Gwendoline's arm like, oh my goodness. I'm so excited.
That's what the cookie squad was for.
Excellent. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, this is going to be wonderful. Oh, we're going to have to do a heist in the new year to be able to get some more things for in the attic. It's going to be, oh, I can't wait. Oh, there's papers here just in time. I shall spruce everything up. It's brilliant. And yeah, she's very excited.
I feel like if Jalk had overheard when you were like, guess what we're getting? And Jalk's just like, cheese, a candy, a big ball. Just like totally random stuff.
Cheese and candy and a big ball.
Delk, one day you'll understand. You'll find a nice little borrower of your own to settle down with, and you'll understand these things. You'll have someone to share your cheese with, and it'll be wonderful.
Jalk's just like, what?
Or have a cheese wheel each, you know. You don't always have to share.
Jalk, because you haven't like specifically said baby yet, Jalk is just like in their head you see like just a borrower in like a gift box and they're like, what? That's how we get new borrowers in different places.
So
and just kind of like looks perplexed. But when you say they're pregnant, they're like, oh, cool. I don't know what a new borrower to share cheese with has anything to do with that, but okay.
You'll understand in a few years, Jalk. Don't you worry about it. Just keep flexing and you'll find someone.
Jalk's like, it's my secret. I'm always flexing.
Good stuff. The next time that we see you all, it's the day of the feast. Floorboard folk from all over the house have gathered together in the defunct and forgotten dumbwaiter that's in the walls of the house that the human beings don't use, maybe doesn't work. Piffany Trundle has brought out her almost complete china set. She keeps asking her husband when he's going to borrow that last teacup from the dollhouse, but hasn't happened yet. There's a gently steaming walnut shell full of hot chocolate, kept warm over a tea light by a broken bit of chain from a necklace. Someone, Jalk, I wrote this in, and then you did do it, has managed to grab a big chunk of salami. I wasn't expecting that it was gonna that we were gonna know who it was. Um, and what I have written, because I wasn't assuming this would be a player, is that someone was slicing slices off of it with like an X-Acto knife. But of course, it is Jalks, so that's up to you if you've brought it to the party or if it's just for Jalk.
Oh, I think Jalk brings it, brings that and like some cheese. I think they've like eaten their fill.
Yeah, so you've got this like X-Acto knife and are cutting slices and passing it around. Not everyone who went out on expeditions came back successfully with the things that they wanted to have, but everyone did make it back unscathed. As you're attending this party, first of all, I would love to know what each of you are wearing, because this is the event of the season for the floorboard folk. And then also if there's like other, things that you've brought to the party, like a special treat that you've made or something like that, this is kind of our first part of our little epilogue part, so feel free to be as cozy as you'd like.
Well, I was thinking about the gem, and I was thinking, as we have the jewelry box, maybe there's some old bits of human being jewelry. So maybe there's like a ring that would be for borrowers, like a big sort of torque or like a belt or something that maybe Varinetti has brought over to Gwendolisa's before the party to maybe set the gem in to give to was it Peep and Bendry, my beautiful grandson Bendry. So yeah, I think Varinetti sort of organised that as a little present for the happy couple, maybe.
Yeah, Gwendolisa, do you think Gwendolisa would be amenable to having the gem used in this way?
Absolutely. It was very exciting. We spent a whole evening together, me and Varinetti, kind of hammering the shape of this small child's ring into something more necklace-like, resetting this little tiny chip. It's very pretty. And so it's a gift from both of us. And just because we're cheeky and pains in the butts, we wrote the card to the three of you from the two of us.
I'm actually doing this one.
I can't wait to be that grandma who spoils everything. I'm going
We've got some
to.
we opened up one of the chocolate liqueurs a little early.
We may have got into a cherry cordial. We did a whole one by ourselves, just the two of us.
Put three. That's so good, Gwendolyn.
Jalk is in the other room just housing salami.
Yeah. Stopping to do like push-ups and then it's like Eye of the Tiger play.
It's one of those pan shots where it's like it passes through like the kind of little wall separating, and we see Jalk doing that. Yeah, other things for the party, things people are bringing, what you're wearing, anything like that.
So Gwendolisa is she has a new holiday dress. It was not particularly from this trip, but they've replaced the nativity set in the house recently. They updated it. This one was old and dusty. And instead of being one of the nice all porcelain painted ones where all you got to do is like Lysol wipe it down, it was her grandma's where they had the little detachable capes and stuff. So when they chucked that thing, I just went, I robbed the Virgin Mary. I chucked her. So I am in a gorgeous little blue dress with a cape.
You introducing this is going to lead me to say, I already tweeted about it, but something I loved that I got to say during the session 0, because we were talking about like, for the humans, it's Christmas. I don't think borrowers necessarily have and so
party time.
Yeah, just there's a party because the humans are having a party. And so I did get to say the phrase, the borrowers don't know who Christ is. So, yeah, Gwendolisa, you're just like, some tiny little well-dressed statue I took the stuff from. There was a manger. I didn't need that. I don't really know what the deal is.
Are you kidding? I did too take that. I dumped that weird little thing. I dumped the weird
Peach
little
baby.
doll. And I have a grandbaby.
Yeah, that's true.
I need a cradle
Get
for
ready.
in my house for when I'm babysitting.
Oh, very good. Very, very good.
I think I've
Ja-
made a. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Philippa.
I think I've made a dress out of, loom bands.
Oh,
the weird
yes.
little the little things you can braid together or something, and I've got beads, and it looks like a little borrower flapper dress, basically, with little beads on it. and stuff.
That's
so
cute.
cute.
But I also still have my little Busby hat because I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
So good. What's Jalk wearing?
Jalk, I think, has taken like a bit of powdered sugar. I've like now decided he's got like a full beard. I don't think I like decided that before, but
Just
let's
introduce
say
him at
it's
the end.
he grew it out in the time. He's got
Well,
these
that
kind of
salami.
shapes so much normally. And he's like put powdered.
Philippa,
Beans
sorry,
everywhere.
sorry to interrupt. Were you saying the salami caused Jalk to grow?
Yeah,
So
beans everywhere.
It's just like more protein.
That's how
sprouts.
beards work. All of us literally.
Veronetti knows science. That's what we've established.
Yeah, so
Good.
Jalk's put like powdered sugar on it because I feel like they've seen like a Santa or something, and they're like, I don't know, they're all these little dolls and things all over with like a white beard. So they put that on, and I think they have like they've taken like red fabric and they've kind of fashioned like an Indian kurta out of it. So it has like a little bit of embroidery. And then they've taken one of like the gauze like ribbons and is using it like kind of like a scarf. So they're like kind of makeshifting out like a Santa, and they're like, I don't know who this dude is, but they're everywhere. They have them all over the house for some reason.
He's got to be important.
Yeah.
I think I have one more. Well, I have several more questions, but one more question about this kind of thing, which is Jalk and Veronetti. What do you think the design is of the wrapping paper that you've used to decorate the jewelry box?
Maybe we try to find one that doesn't look too sort of outwardly Christmassy. So maybe it has stars on. It's one of those ones with like sort of like shiny stars or sort of sparkles and things. Maybe.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know what color scheme.
Ooh, I'm imagining
Yeah.
like blue and gold. Like as soon as you said that, I'm imagining like a dark blue and then gold stars.
Oh,
Yeah. That sounds like it would be really nice inside of like a jewelry box if it's all like velvety in there too.
Yeah, you've got this lush new wallpaper. And then so I mentioned so this is kind of the scene of everyone eating and drinking and being merry, and the chocolates are a huge hit. You also have like, I guess we decided, a whole human-sized turkey that a group has managed to bring in, which is probably it fits in the dumbwaiter for sure. It fits where the party is, but it's like the centerpiece. Like people are up on top of it,
burrowing into it.
It's like James and the Giant Peach, but it's just a turkey. So everything else kind of has to be squeezed in around it. So the way that the game works is there's a few questions that we wrap up the session with. Let me scroll to the page where they are. Okay, some of them we've already answered kind of in describing things. But I think the first one that we'll say, and maybe this is, you can kind of be in and out of character for this, so maybe it's something that you're talking about while you're at the party, you're telling someone else about it. But the first question is, what do you think collectively, what do you collectively think went well during the expedition? Maybe this is you kind of sharing your swapping stories with other floorboard folk. went best for you, maybe you can't talk about the other floorboard folk because they think your husband was eaten by a cat.
I mean, we've been
You're
on
like-
we've been on the chocolate bonbons, so who knows what's coming out halfway through
That's
the party.
Yeah.
You'll never guess what.
So Lisa is. It's been a great evening. She's full of turkey. She's like a quarter of a bonbon in all by herself, and she's sitting there and she's talking to Elias Underclock, who's sitting nearby. We have a gentle flirtation going on. And she's like, "No, you don't understand. The two dogs were there. The dogs wanted Jalk. But there was this doll, just this ugly, raggedy, smelly doll. I don't know why they would give that to the baby bean. Perhaps it was a gift from someone who didn't like the family very much, for this thing was just so ugly and stinky. And I just threw it out in front of the dogs and they just took it away. It was the best adventure." Like she's... And then I rode one, like in this way, she's just like...
I was free, untamed.
Yeah, he's just like nodding and is kind of like, I think, cozying up to you a little bit. Maybe does the thing of like a stretch and then an arm around the back of your chair and is like, "You certainly are an incredible woman." What do other people think went well during the expedition? Or is that the thing?
Yeah, I think Jalk is just very excited that the dogs were diverted. I feel like they kind of by the skin of their teeth made it back into the house from being in the doghouse for so long. Because I feel like they were constantly like trying to get out, and then the dogs would be like, "My toy," and would drag him back.
I feel like borderline people didn't even know Jalk like existed for a while.
Yeah.
It was like, did I see someone out there? Like who was out there? And then one
Jalk, we
day,
thought you
It's
got on
like-
your gap here to the neighbor's house.
yeah.
We've
Just like
known
montages
all
of
this
Jalk like at the window.
You see the dog running towards you in the back.
No. So
Oh my
Jalk is
God.
like, I feel like doing kind of like a harrowing story, probably to like a lot of the younger ones, like maybe the
Oh,
kids
yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
the teens. And it's just like, and then I heard it, the skittering of the dog, and like has pulled out their like hammer that they're kind of using like sort of like a sword. And then like, I guess they probably like quickly go over the ambo thing. Maybe they even mention it, but because they're like the kids are just like, okay, I guess some borrower got taken over by a dog. And it's just like kind of taking it along with the story. Maybe
It's like
like
a
one of the
cautionary tale.
yeah. Maybe that's what Jalk does, like kind of turns it into like, and then I learned that if you curse someone, you'll get taken away by the dogs. And it's like, and all the kids are like,
Very like Home Alone, like reaction to this.
love your wives. Jalk is like shaking the pit.
I'm not married.
I know this is for the future, neither am I. I'm really scared.
You're just like holding each other and shaking each other.
The adults going by are like,
What? Who is this borrower? We barely
why
know
are they
them.
telling our kids to love their wives?
What kind of stories is Veronetti telling?
I think Veronetti is quite pleased that it was overall successful and we only got mildly hurt.
Mhm.
We only fell once. She's particularly pleased with the climbing and over the tree and all of that. So I think But I think the thing is that Veronetti always says that her trips are successful even when they aren't. So she's probably like sitting with some other older adventurers and just going on about how great it was. But they're probably all like, yeah, okay. But then she gets to the bit where she's like, and I got a new hat. And like shows it off. And they're like, well, we can see that.
That's
That
clearly
bit must
true.
be true. Yeah. And then it's
And
like
the
gets out a
chocolates.
new barrel, a new bonbon, like, and we got these bad boys.
Yeah, that somebody like just like pops like I don't even, what would this be?
If
I
they
think
like
a little.
untwist the wrapper, maybe.
Oh yeah,
Which
I
would,
was
like, get
thinking
it
they
out.
take like a little like not even a straw but like a coffee stirrer and like pop it
Yeah.
in the side and like it's slow enough because it's like it's not really
Yeah.
liquid that it comes out and people are like
Yeah.
bringing over their little dollhouse teacups to get some.
And
it's
I
like,
imagine she's standing next to this huge turkey and she's like, yes, I'd say it's maybe even the most successful heist of the year.
giant turkey that like 5 people did.
Yeah.
So the last question I'll ask before we wrap up and go around and do our sign-offs is, was the expedition worth the risk, do you think?
Yes. Lord, I could have walked away with no chocolate, no batteries, no wrapping paper, and it still would have been worth it. Are you kidding me? I had a great time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It sounds like everyone's saying yes, it was worth the risk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, does anyone have anything to add to that? I don't want to cut people off. It's not a very open-ended question. But people can feel free to elaborate.
I feel like Jalk has a very skewed perception of what adventures are like, even though they've like been on a bunch, but they're just like, I think they're like, this is what adventuring, like these are the adventurers of old, of like legends,
Seasoned professionals.
yeah, all those other
Mhm.
adventures I've been on, those are nothing compared to this.
I
Yeah.
just
Wasn't the same back in the old days. This is real adventuring.
I like to think that in full cartoon style, the camera would kind of pan away from me flirting with Mr. Underclock and Veronetti tapping chocolate kegs and Jalt gently shaking children. And it pulls back so that you get to see all the floor folks standing next to this ridiculous turkey. And then you get to see the human beings eating. And then as it pans outside, you see my ex-husband still dangling from the mouth of the dog as it trots around the yard.
I think
While
one
Christmas music.
the last shot we see is like we can see your your ex-husband dangling and we can see the paws and the dirt starting to kick up a little bit as Ambode is struggling to get out of here, and he has an adventure of his own that he'll have to undertake to get out of this sticky situation. But that's, I think, our game of Under the Floorboards by Chris Bissett and Loot the Room. We're gonna go around to everybody and let us know where people can find you, and then 1 to 2 other things that you're working on. And we'll go in the same order we did last time, which I believe was Philippa first.
So yeah, I'm Philippa Moore. I've been playing Veronetti. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Mort Philippa, apart from I just set up my Instagram, which is Philippa_Mort, because I didn't have Mort Philippa available.
Oh no!
And one little thing I'm working on at the moment, I just finished writing the short version of a Mouse Ritter adventure called Mycelium. It's about mushrooms and fairies. And the finalized version of that should be coming out very, very soon. So keep an eye on that on my Itch.io and on various social medias. I'll be talking about it there.
Yeah, let's throw it over to Arnica.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been so great playing with you guys tonight. I'm Arnica Ross. I've been Gwendolyn's support. You're very so happily divorced for her. You're going to be able to find me this week. I'm one of the last 2 shows wrapping up winter one shots, I believe. Yeah, no, I think we stopped Friday, in which case it's me followed with Bluebeard's Bride, Mrs. Claus, followed by I Saw Mommy Kissing an Ancient Red Dragon. Friday. Friday's gonna be a show. All week's gonna be a show. All week. Be here all week. And then I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna lay my tired bones down until we come back January 2nd with the beginning of the second part of Wish We Weren't Here, our terrible, horrible, no good, very bad road trip to save reality. I'm going to be doing all of this here exclusively on Girls Run These Worlds. If you're looking for anything else I've done, my Avatar stream should be up on Valdorant's YouTube channel the end of next week. That's me. That's all of my 2022. I'm tired. I worked hard. I'm done.
Yeah, very good. And then Rue, I'll throw it over to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rue. I've been Jalk Doghouse no more, but they'll keep the name. And yeah, I'm kind of closing out the year with this stream. I don't have anything else upcoming, but you can find I'm a game designer, writer. I do producing and streaming in a lot of other places. So you can check out my work either on my itch page, which is rue7.itch.io, or you can find links to all the writing that I do at jadupatel.card.co. You can find everything there. And I will be tuning in for all of the wonderful holiday one-shots that are coming in for Girls Run These Worlds. So I think everyone else should be here joining me.
Yeah. So then speaking of that, I'll talk about that in a second, but before I do that, I gotta plug myself, of course. I'm Taylor. You can find me on different social medias as Roll for Felicity, including my own Twitch, where I run one-shots of a bunch of different games. And for a clever bit of cross promo, if you head over to my YouTube, which is Roll for Felicity on YouTube, I've run a one-shot of Under the Floorboards on my channel. So if this wasn't enough for you and you want to see a completely different group of borrowers doing a completely different thing, you can go over there. I will say one of the borrowers in that had a tech deck that they used to skateboard around, which was very good. Yeah, a tiny little skateboard for, I don't know, that might just be an American thing. So that was very fun. And also in January, I have some other games coming up on my channel, Mouse Rider and Vampire the Masquerade. So you can find that on YouTube or follow me or on Twitch or follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, etc., etc., etc. Roll for Felicity everywhere. And then I do have some channel announcements, which other people have alluded to. Girls Run These Worlds is in the middle of a whole week of winter one-shots, so please come back here in just a few hours for a one-shot of Ink, run by Amber, the Space Jamber. Tomorrow, we've got Good Society and Vampire the Masquerade, which, if you're not already familiar with Anne running Good Society, what are you doing? It's so good. So that's going to be a Good Society one-shot. And finally, if you want to support Girls Run These Worlds more than you already are by watching and hanging out in chat, you can subscribe on Twitch, and I'm going to give you a little tip. While you're here, you may as well look and see if you have a free Prime sub to use right now. When you click if you're on desktop and click the subscribe button, there might be a little thing that says subscribe with Prime, and it's absolutely free for you. And what are you doing with it? You may as well use it for Girls Run These Worlds. Totally free and great for the channel. And then if you don't have that and you've got $5, just subscribe regularly. I'm looking over to... Oh, I'm getting a message from our producer. Tonight's game of Ink, there's a giveaway and it's sponsored. Oh, look at these subs rolling in. Thank you, Critical Chit, for the gift sub. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And Merfeather, thank you for the sub. Yeah, check and see if you have those primes. Let's get those primes rolling in. So yeah, tonight's game of Ink is sponsored, and I believe you said, Sarah said there was going to be giveaways, 2 giveaways. So definitely come back for that. Cool, 2 giveaways tonight, so come back for that. That starts at 8 p.m., I believe. Yes. Sarah, I'm looking to you to see if we're rating somebody, because that's the next thing I have to say. Do we know who it is? Okay, cool. So stick around. We're going to raid somebody. That's the last thing I have to say. But when we get over to the other channel, whoever it is, show them some love. Say hello. Stick around, see what they're doing. Spread the giggles and good vibes as we go over and hang out with somebody else in your chat. Thank you all so much for watching. This was such a great time. Do y'all want to say goodbye to chat?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.